everyone, this is Diane, and I'm going to make a card today using this little whale stamp. This is actually another whippersnapper stamp, and the name of this stamp is Baby Beluga. I knew exactly the saying I wanted to use with this stamp, but then I couldn't find one, so I wound up printing one up on the computer. So this is the stamp I'm going to be using, and I wanted to show this. My friend Grandma T found this scrapbook header at a convention, and it said mousing around, and it was so perfect because of my blog, so I added the word just, and there we go. There's my blog title right there. I thought that was really, really cute and very sweet of her. Thank you, Grandma T. Anyway, so I found this paper. It's by Reminisce, and it has a lot of sayings on it that are beachy, ocean, and then I really liked the other side of it as well. So I'm going to be using that today. I took some white cardstock. You know the phone's going to ring or the dog's going to bark when you start a video, so there goes my phone. Luckily I moved it to another room. And I added a blue solid, and then I added the words pattern paper on top of that. So I'm just going to add that to my card. These are actually two different colors, these two blues. One's a little bit lighter, but you really can't tell that much. So, but they are. So I'm going to adhere this to my card, and I tried to get some of the words to show because most of them are going to wind up being covered up. So there we go. And then I took some of that, the other opposite side of the card, or the paper, had the stripes on it, and I used this punch to punch holes in it. I tried using another scallop punch and doing 2 layers in it. It just wasn't working. So what I did with this one was I adhered it to the blue cardstock so that in the little holes the different blue would show through. So I'm going to attach that to the bottom right here. I think I'll cover up the white but let that blue layer show. So there we go. There's that layer. Now when I took the stamp, I stamped it out, and I used the Nestabilities, the scalloped ovals, and after I got it all set up and stamped, I used that to color it. I used a red Spica Copic pen to make the hearts a little bit shiny, and then I also used a little tiny bit of blue dots with the Spica pen to make the little dots a little bit shiny as well. And then I took this pen and I dotted around the scallops, and I did that before I did the video so they could dry, so when I flipped it over to add the mounting tape that they wouldn't smear. So that's what we have going on there. So I'm going to mount this on, and I'm actually going to mount that on with these little squares because they're a little bit thinner than the ones I'm going to use for the little word saying, and I want that one to raise up a little bit higher. So these, you can see the thickness isn't quite as much as normal mounting tape, so it'll mount it up a little bit, but not enough that I can't add something, a little more dimension on it that's a little higher next to it. So I'm going to take this little whale, and I think I'll put it, oh, probably about there. And then I used a chalk ink to go around the edges of the scalloped and also around the scallops of the little border on the bottom. I'm going to take a 1 1/4 scalloped punch, and using that lighter blue cardstock, I'm going to punch a little scallop circle. And then the saying that I had in mind was "Love ya tons." Couldn't find it, so I just printed one up on the computer, punched it out with my little heart punch, and then I took this same blue ink and inked around the edges. So I'm going to run this through my little Xyron X and add that to the little blue scallop. Okay. I'm going to put that on right about there. And then I need to add a little bit to that just to make that a little more interesting. So I think I'll take this little white pen and add some little white dots around the scallop. Trying not to stick my finger in the wet ink. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to come in and do the same thing on this little border, just to add a little bit. It's not going to show up on this one because it's got some white lines on it. And there we go. So got a little bit of white on there just to add a little bit of something to that section. Okay, now I have, these pop dots are a lot thicker than the square ones I was using. So this will pop up this little heart a little higher since it's going to be next to the little whale we have here. So I think I'll put that, maybe I'll angle it a little bit, put it there. Now that's up a little bit higher. And I think I'll add a little more sparkle up this little water spout. And I'm using Crystal because it had a little bit of blue and green in it. Put that around. Put that around. And I think that's good. So that's my card for today. Little baby beluga. Love you tons. Thanks for watching. Bye.